Hello, this is Spellswise NTG, and today we have a face-off in our 10th episode of Sporefrog Shenanigans between Niv Mizzet Parun, Spellslinger, Osgir the Reconstructor, which is an artifact recursion deck, and Grismold the dreadsower, which is a reanimation token deck. This is a pretty interesting game, let's get on with it. I go first, I draw for turn. I play Mirror Landscape, tapped and pass. Jack draws, plays a Mountain and passes. Alec draws, plays a Swamp and then casts Expedition Map. I untap, draw. I play a Plains for turn. I then pay 1 to cast Thorring, and I sacrifice Mirror Landscape to go and find 2 mountains. I pass turn. Jack draws. He plays a mountain. He pays 2 to cast Star Compass. And passes. Draw. Plays a forest. Untap. Draw. I play a Plains. I pay 4 to play my commander. And then pay 2 to cast Spare Supplies and I draw a card. And pass a turn. Jack untaps, draws. Jack taps 3 to cast Jessica's Will, targeting me. Adding 6 red mana to his mana pool. He then plays a Fire Diamond. Swiftfoot Boots. Then he passes. Jack's end step. Alec sacrifices Expedition Map. Alec finds a Phyrexia's Tower, and he plays it for turn. He then passes. I untap. Draw. I play a Temple of Triumph tapped, scry 1. I put the card on the bottom of my library. I pay 3 to cast Makes of the Wheel. And then play Workshop Assistant. I then attack Jack for 4. Jack takes 4. Then I pass a turn. He untaps and draws. Then, because he has no blue, he gets very sad. Jack plays a mountain and passes. On Jack's end step, Alec cycles Barrenmoor, discarding hard and drawing card, then he draws for turn. After untapping. Alec passes. I untap. Draw. I play an Exotic Orchard. I pay 5 to cast Bronze Guardian. I then pay 2 to activate Makes of the Wheel. And everyone discards their hand and draws 7 cards. After drawing 7, I play an Ancient Den. I activate my commander. I exile Mere Retrieve from my graveyard to make 2 token copies of it. Jack untaps and draws. He plays a Basilisk Collar. Jack then passes. Alec untaps, draws. Plays a Llanowar Wastes. He pays 4 to cast Smokestacks. And all of us are very alarmed. I untap and draw. I pay 2 to sacrifice Spare Supplies and I draw a card. I pay 2 to tap my commander to make 2 token copies of Spare Supplies and I draw 2 cards. I pay 2 to cast Ichor Wellspring and I draw a card. I play a Mindstone. I then send 20 at Alec and 4 at Jack. And I send a 3 more at Jack. So Alec takes 20 for my double striking Bronze Guardian. Then Jack takes 7. And I pass a turn. Untaps and draws. He pays a Sky Diamond and is very excited. Jack then passes. Alec untaps. Alec puts a counter on Smokestacks. Alec plays 3 to cast Grismold. Then he victimizes his commander and gets an opposition agent and Protein Hulk on Spathfield. I untap. And my upkeep, I sacrifice Ichor Wellspring and I draw a card. I draw for turn. I play a Great Furnace. I play a Combustible Gear Hulk and I name Alec. Alec lets me draw 3. So I draw 3 cards. I attack Jack for 22, Alec for 4. They both take the damage. I play a Trading Post. I pay 1 to tap it, sacrifice Workshop Assistant. I draw a card. I turn Ichor Wellspring to my hand. I discard a Solemn Simulacrum on my end step. Jack untaps, sacrifices a mountain to Smokestacks, and draws a card. Jack plays a Whirlpool Warrior. He then just shuffles his hand into his library and draws that many cards. Jack plays Swiftwater Cliffs, gaining a life. He pays 3 to play Gutter Snipe and then passes. Alec untaps. On his upkeep, he sacrifices Protein Hulk to such as IB for any number of creature cards with total power 6 or more. He finds a Viscera Serum Gravebreaker Lamia, and the Gravebreaker Lamia allows Alec to search his IB for a card and put it into his graveyard. He finds a Scourge of Neltoth. Alec draws for turn. Alec plays Fleshbag Marauder. Everyone has to sacrifice a creature. I sacrifice one of my mere retrievers. And I return Solemn Simulacrum back to my hand. And then I cast Farseek. I untap. Jack then sacrifices Gutter Snipe to Fleshbound Marauder from last turn, and I draw for turn. I pay 1 to tap for a trading post. I sacrifice Combustible Gear Hulk and I draw a card. I pay 6. I activate my commander. I exile it from my graveyard. I make 2 token copies. I name Alec as for one of them and Jack for one of them. They both let me draw 3 cards. And then Alec remembers I should have done smokestacks, and I sacrifice a mere retriever. I return Workshop Assistant to my hand. I pay 2 to cast Talisman of Conviction. Pay 2 more to play Fort Vessel. Pay 2 to cast Ichor Wellspring and I draw a card. I attack Alec with Big Double Strike. Boy. Alec just throws his opposition agent in front of it, and he sacrifices it to Viscera Seer and scries 1. Alec then scries 1. I then discard a load of cards and pass. Jack sacrifices Swiftfoot Boots on his upkeep and draws for turn. Jack taps 6 to cast his commander. He sacrifices Basilisk Collar instead of Swiftfoot Boots and attaches Swiftfoot Boots to his commander. And attacks Alec for 5. Alec takes 5, Jack passes, Alec untaps. Then Alec sacrifices Smokestacks to itself. Then he draws for turn and plays an Iron Reef the Vastwood. He pays 2, sacrifices 2 creatures, and casts Scourge of Neltoth from his graveyard. Then Alec passes. On Alec's end step, I Mountain Cycle Ruin Grinder. And also on my end step, Alec casts Putrefy on my Bronze Guardian, paying 2 extra for the ward. I then find a mountain and put it into my hand from the Ruin Grinder. I untap, draw. I play a land for turn. I then send a Combustible Gear Hulk at both of them, and they're both 6/6 first strikes. Alec doesn't block, and he takes 6, and Jack also takes 6. I pay 1 to tap Trading Post, sacrifice Talisman to draw a card. I tap and sacrifice Ancient Den to itself. I sacrifice a Spare Supplies and a Soul Ring. I sacrifice Ichor Wellspring and Soul Ring and draw a card. I sacrifice the other 2 using my Osgir. I pay 1, sacrifice Osgir. Trading Post to Osgir. Then I cast Scrap Mastery. Everyone has to sacrifice their artifacts, and I return all artifacts from my graveyard to the battlefield, of which there are many. Alec concedes because he doesn't believe he can do anything. I tap my commander for 0. I'm making 2 copies of Great Furnace. I play a Hellkite Tyrant and pass a turn. I pass a turn and then Jack plays Tandem Lookout, and in response I pay 1 life, pay 2 as well, to cast Chaos Warp targeting Jack's commander. Jack then casts the Wizard's Retort on my Chaos Warp, and then in response to the Wizard's Retort, Jack then sacrifices Whirlpool Warrior, and in response to that, I sacrifice Ruin Grinder. So each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. I discard my hand and draw 7. Jack then deals 7 to me with his commander. Jack draws a card from Wizard's Retort. I take another 7 when Jack shuffles in from Whirlpool Warrior and draws 7. Jack deals another 7 to me after drawing 7 from Whirlpool Warrior. Then I dispatch targeting Jack's commander. Jack taps 1 to cast Brainstorm. I take 3 more damage. Jack's commander is then exiled and put into the command zone. Chaos Warp then becomes countered from Wizard's Retort. And Tandem Lookout hits the battlefield. Jack then discards a couple of cards and passes. I untap, swing with everything and win. Post-game review. So I did cheat by playing an extra land. I'm not sure it affected the game that much, as often I had at least 1 mana left over at the end of every turn. Maybe apart from the turn I played it, or not being able to play the Spare Supplies, whether that would have affected the game. It's too hard to remember as this game was quite a while ago. The most impactful card of the game I'd say is Bronze Guardian, because it dealt out 42 damage total and it could have been more if it hadn't been removed. It protected all my artifacts and forced Alec to destroy the Bronze Guardian and pay 5 mana on it instead of just 3. So he could start touching my other stuff, but then in the end it didn't really matter because I won. Jack nearly won at the end. He got me down to 12 life from 40, which was quite impressive, I thought. And I would have lost if it hadn't been for the 2 removal spells, which I managed to get from wheeling twice, which I also thought was pretty lucky. So overall, I just think I was incredibly lucky to win. And maybe Jack did deserve to win, as I did play the extra 2 lands in 1 turn. Although I'll leave that up to you to decide. If you did enjoy this video, remember to like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.